Two 2018 draft darlings reaching their potential? Two teams that I was absolutely wrong about? What about the Canadiens and their trio of young defensemen? Hey, hockey fans! Welcome back! Welcome in if this is your first time joining us for Today in Hockey. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow, and today it's Saturday, October 22nd, 2022, and it's time for Week 2 observations. That's right, we still got some games going on. Right now we got Pens, Blue Jackets in the background. Blue Jackets up 2-0. That's a little surprising. But there are three things that have stood out to me in Week 2 of the NHL season. So I thought it'd be fun to dive deep into those, use the numbers, use the data, and see what it tells us. So stick around for that. If you do enjoy the content, take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, helps us out a ton. We're just getting started, but we're going to keep bringing you these weekly observations. We're going to keep doing other fun videos, and plus, you want to be a part of the best hockey community on YouTube. I do appreciate you guys. You are the best. So, all right, without further ado, let's get into it. We see our agenda right there. First up, Rasmus Dahlin and Andrei Svechnikov. So first and foremost, let's get it out of the way. These two 2018 draft darlings, and I'll tell you what, if this week is any indication, they're doing it. They're reaching their potential. I know Rasmus Dahlin in particular has kind of gotten a hard time being the top overall pick, but my goodness, this last week in particular, he really stood out, including he made history. That's right. He is the first defenseman to score goals in 4 straight games to start the NHL season. So hats off to him indeed. But this isn't the point of this. Absolutely, this is a good thing. But we got to dive deep into both these players' player cards, into the data, and see what it's telling us. So Rasmus Dahlin's up first. We see the hockey card, or excuse me, his player card courtesy of Hockey Prospecting. Absolutely love those. Big shout out to them. We also see a chart here provided to us by JFresh Hockey. We see game impact scores courtesy of Hockey Stat Cards, and then we have 2 player cards at the bottom for each of these gentlemen, also courtesy of Hockey Stat Cards. Absolutely love those. They give us those game scores, give us that nightly, daily running impact. So first up, Rasmus Dahlin for the Buffalo Sabres. And Sabres fans, you guys have to just be so excited. That team is playing so well right now. They're young, they're hungry, they're playing together. It's a thing of beauty, and Rasmus Dahlin is absolutely a huge part of that. He is turning the corner. His offensive game, goodness, might be one of the top offensive defensemen in the NHL today, and he's starting to make strides defensively as well, so you absolutely love to see it. Now, this isn't necessarily a surprise, right? He was the #1 overall pick for a reason, but it's just really fun to see him just become the face of this team. Him doing the gritty after that victory last week, that's fantastic. You know, keep that personality. That's something that I was missing from Dahlin the past couple of seasons. I really, he wasn't giving me a lot of emotion out there on the ice or afterwards, and looks like he's having fun. You know, he is kind of just that silent assassin type, but he's just doing fantastic. We see him number 3 in goals above expected leaders. That's not just defensemen, that's the entire NHL, and that's courtesy of JFresh Hockey. We see him coming in at 2.9, but we also see Svechnikov there, 4.2. That's why we're talking about both these guys, because Svechnikov had an excellent game against my Edmonton Oilers. Oh my gosh, we did come out victorious, but 4-6 losers for the Hurricanes, and Andrei Svechnikov, fantastic. He had a hat trick, his first career hat trick. He wasn't that excited about it afterwards, but we see the game impact score for him, and he was just outstanding. Now, the production is a big piece of that, but for him to also post positive offensive and defensive numbers, defensive in particular, for him to post positive defensive numbers in that type of game, absolutely fantastic. I really do think the future is so bright for these two. I think this is just the beginning. We see their game impact scores. Andrei right there, 2.84. Are you kidding me? Austin Matthews is sitting at a cool 1.34, so even Dahlin is ahead of him in that category. I really think these two gentlemen can keep it up. What do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comments. Are you as pumped on these two as I am, or do you think things are going to mellow out? All right, moving on. Observation number 2. Teams I was wrong about. So this one's going to be a little fun. We did some season previews, and I also had opinions that I didn't necessarily put out on the internet because I didn't have the most faith in them. This is one of those opinions I didn't get to actually make a video about. Now, I know we talked a lot about the Minnesota Wild. I am very high on the Wild. It's still early, right? We're only 1-3-1 on the season, but my goodness, we're 1-3-1. It looks like a dumpster fire out there. You guys just lost to Boston earlier today in overtime. A little bit better, but goodness, things are not looking too good. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, the Pittsburgh Penguins, my goodness, they are humming. Maybe I'm jinxing them a little bit. They are down 2-0 to Columbus right now, but I thought it'd be fun to pull all the available data. We've got all the graphs and charts courtesy of JFresh Hockey. Big shout out to them. If you're a fan of analytics, he is definitely one I would look into. Absolutely, these numbers are fantastic, but I thought it'd be fun to take a look at both these teams and see where they're stacked up and see what's going wrong, right? What's actually happening under the hood. So Minnesota Wild, you guys are up first. I thought you guys were going to do fantastic. I thought you were going to just blow the doors off of the NHL, every other NHL team. I thought it was going to just be a great season. Now, injuries, sure, that plays into it. But if we look at the numbers here, your expected goals for per 60, 20th in the NHL. That offense, it's just not clicking. And we see 19th for expected goals against. So, you're not really performing too well statistically on either end of the spectrum. Now, special teams, that doesn't seem to be an issue for the Wild, right? We see that plus minus goal differential there and 3.9 special teams per goals per 60. That's fantastic. Doing really well there. The quality of shot attempts, that is something that I am keeping my eye on. You've got a superstar in Kaprizov, but you also do have some very solid players. But Foligno is one player I had my eye on in particular. His shooting percentage was absolutely outrageous. It was like 24%, nowhere near his career average. So that is something I kept my eye on. And here we go. We're seeing some of that already come through a little bit, it appears, but they're just not taking great shots right now. And the big thing with the Minnesota Wild, the Tendy spot. Marc-Andre Fleury was supposed to be the answer, and my goodness, if we see the numbers, he has not been the answer. Goals saved above expected. Through this, I don't believe this includes the game today, but through the game, up to the game today, minus 9.2. That is absolutely horrendous. Worst in the league by almost 4 goals. That is ridiculous. Lowest goals saved above expected. Marc-Andre Fleury minus 5.7. Worst in the league. That's just unacceptable out of a former all NHL Tendy. So that is the issue right now, it appears, in Minnesota. The Tendy spot has to get better. The defense has to get better, and that should hopefully allow the offense to start clicking again. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins, this is the other end of the spectrum. I wasn't very high on the Penguins. All it takes is one injury for Crosby, one bad hit, and there goes the season, you feel like. But it's been the opposite. This team is really fired on all cylinders. The age hasn't been a factor. The injury bug, knock on wood, hasn't been a factor for them yet, and their stars are playing like stars. Their superstars are playing like stars, I should say. So far, they're 3-0-1 on the season. They are down 2-0 to the Blue Jackets, but I fully expect them to come storming right back. But take a look at the quality of shots. My goodness, 8.1%. They are leading the league in quality per 5-on-5 shot attempt. That is absolutely fantastic. And on the other end of the spectrum, Tristan Yari is playing wonderfully as opposed to Marc-Andre Fleury. So that's where I was wrong. I don't know if this trend is going to necessarily continue with these teams. I fully expect the Wild to be right in the thick of it. They have too much talent not to be. Now, they do have some players. Ryan Hartman is one that you worry about regressing a little bit from last season, but I fully expect the Wild to be right in the thick of it in the playoff hunt as the season progresses. And the Penguins, man, if you guys can keep avoiding Father Time and keep playing like this, look at those game scores. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, big shout out to Hockey Stat Cards again on these puppies, but those numbers are absolutely outrageous. Hopefully they can keep them up. I'm a big fan of both those guys. We got Malkin hanging up over here behind us, so absolutely. But let me know, what do you guys think on these two teams? What trajectory, what path lays before them? But all right, moving on. Observation number 3, the Montreal Canadiens and their left D-men. My goodness. So big shout out to dailyfaceoff.com. Love checking them for our lineup needs. And you see right there, Caden Gooley, Jordan Harris, and Andrei Xhekaj. 3 excellent young talents. Coming from different areas, right? We're looking at Caden Gooley, Jordan Harris, and then Xhekaj. We've got a little bit of a highly touted. Jordan Harris is our NCAA darling, and then Xhekaj. We don't even have a hockey prospecting card for Mr. Xhekaj. So let's take a look at these 3 young defensemen, because I tell you what, these are just 3 more reasons for Canadiens fans for you guys to be so excited about the future. My goodness, Cole Caulfield's starting to play really well. Nick Suzuki with that incredible penalty shot, excuse me. A lot of really good things happening. Montreal, it seems like they're doing the right things, making the right moves. I'm excited for you guys, and the future is now in a lot of ways because of where you're at. You're able to let these young kids play, and I love to see it. And they're seizing the moment, absolutely. So let's start out with Mr. Caden Gooley. He is first line left defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. We see his hockey prospecting card. Thank you guys again. Do appreciate them. We see that, of course, he is developing, but he did put up the equivalency of 23 points in the NHL last season with the Edmonton Oil Kings. Excellent season. And tell you what, if we're talking Caden Gooley, we're talking future captain material. We already got Nick Suzuki, Habs fans, but Caden Gooley, absolutely nice to have that leadership in on the blue line. And if we look at what he's doing now, right, he's first line pairing, so he's going up against the best, and his game score, not too shabby. Sure, it's a little negative, and we see ups and downs in the chart there, but he's got 2 assists, and he is passing the eye test. He has made some excellent plays. He's using his body appropriately. I was expecting him to be a little bigger on TV. It must be his skating style and stuff like that, but I think Caden Gooley is a strong... Oh, man, he's got it. He's got it. Now, I fully expect those game score numbers to start rounding into form, getting better. But again, he's going against the best of the best. So you got to take your lumps, right? And we'll get to that in just a moment, too. So Jordan Harris kind of came out of nowhere. Myself, I'm not too familiar. So down in the comments, guys, let me know all about Jordan Harris. I'd love to learn a lot more about him. But of course, doing my research wouldn't be justice to you guys if I didn't. But Jordan Harris has looked fantastic this season as well. Just in the limited action that I've seen, just the few games this season, my goodness, talk about passing the eye test. But Jordan Harris is one who his game scores are actually matching the eye test as well. He is slotting in as their second line left defenseman right now, and his game score, as we see there, 0.92, so it's positive. He has a couple of games where he absolutely stood out, like top of the top. So really, really excited to see that, and I'm really excited for the future for Jordan Harris, absolutely. And then we get to the man of the week, Andrei Xhekaj, and I need kudos for that pronunciation. I wanted to make sure I got that one right for you guys, but my goodness, did he have a week. If we're talking about weekly observations, he kicked Zach Kassian's ass. I tell you what a great fight. He wasn't scared. He even did his homework. He said he scouted. He asked around, and how is Kassian like to fight? And tell you what, hats off to you, young lad. That was fantastic. He went right in, went for it, and all Kassian could say afterwards was, good fight. So that of course is something you want to see out of your young defenseman, especially if you're going to be slotting him in the third line left defenseman. But he also is having a positive impact on the ice too. We see that game score. It's actually better than Caden Gooley's. He does have an assist. Now he is getting a lot less ice time than Mr. Gooley, but it's still all positive signs. And essentially, and especially with this young lad coming out of nowhere, essentially, very neat to see. Very excited. And I tell you what, if we're going to talk about the young defenseman, we have to look at this JFresh chart again. Again, big shout out to him. 5v5 expected goals against per 60 through October 22nd. The Montreal Canadiens are doing really well. 17th for a rebuilding team, hopefully in the Bedard sweepstakes. That is very good, and that's a testament to these 3 young defensemen along with the right side as well. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited for these 3. We know errors are going to happen, right? So just let them play. Let them work through it. If all works right, Bedard ends up on this team as well. But this young group in general, not just these 3, but all their young players, Uri, Slafkovsky, they're doing really well together and they're bonding. So I love to to see it. This team, I'm excited for what's in store for the Montreal Canadiens. But which of the three is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. And that's going to do it, though, for our weekly observations. Week 2 is in the books. We still have some excellent games going on right now, but that's going to do it for the video. So I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out our other videos. We got a lot of really good ones, including our Young Players of the Week. We dropped that one earlier this morning. So until next time, hockey fans, I appreciate you all. Cheers!